I'm so happy to be joining you guys today. And guess what? It's the NBA playoffs. I'm so excited to get to so many of these matchups. Actually, we've got a game happening right now between the Denver Nuggets and the Utah Jazz. I always have to keep that going on in the corner of my eye, as I'll get to that because there actually is a great live bet for that. But before I get to that, I just want to let everybody know I am sponsored by BetQL, promo code Scalia, SCALIA. And guys, if you don't have a BetQL account, you want to race there and create one, use my promo code to get 20% off and get the best sports betting data you possibly can get. And this is a perfect time because the NBA playoffs are back. Hockey playoffs are in full swing right now. Baseball is doing great, and football season is right around the corner. So you're definitely going to want to make that investment right now. And like I said, so much to talk about today with the NBA playoffs. Today you have the Nuggets and the Utah Jazz. You have the Clippers and the Mavericks, the Raptors, and the Brooklyn Nets, and last but not least, the Boston Celtics and who are they playing, actually? That's a good question. No, the Boston Celtics going up against who are they playing? Totally forgot about that. But once we get to that game, we'll check more with that. With that being said, I just want to dive right into the first segment, which is nothing but net. And I really want to attack this one right now. It is Donovan Mitchell because it is a DraftKings live bet happening right now. His over for points is 21.5 at the moment. It's the first quarter, and Denver has a 6-point lead as I am speaking right now. So you're going to want to have to jump on this because if you guys remember last time the Nuggets and the Jazz played, Donovan Mitchell went absolutely off. The game went to overtime, went to double overtime. Mitchell kept bringing them back down the stretch. He was unreal in that game. And this is a point line that is safe enough for him. I feel like it is starting to drop now. I feel like Mitchell is a great second half player for the Utah Jazz. I like what he does down the stretch. Dynamic guy. He could score all across the court. He could drive to the rim. He could score from the perimeter. So I feel like with a point line right now at 21.5, odds are minus 114. Going to want to take advantage of that for sure. So that's one that I really wanted to talk about quickly and get out of the way. So if anybody wasn't here for the start of the show, I just wanted to jump into the first segment quickly. Nothing but net. Donovan Mitchell right now. It is a live player prop bet on DraftKings over 21.5 points with minus 114 odds. So you're definitely going to want to take advantage of that. I like that a lot. And it's funny enough that ended up in the first segment because when I was planning out the show, I had something else. But I just looked at my DraftKings recently, and Mitchell's a player that I am a big fan of, and decided that he was definitely worthy to fit into this segment for his own reasons. And exactly why. Exactly. Still early in the first quarter, if he doesn't have that many points to start now, he could definitely find a way to make them up down the stretch. I feel like 21.5 is a great line for him. Another big thing, Mike Conley is out. He's actually just had the birth of a child, so congrats to him. But he is not in the bubble right now, so they don't have him. That's another guy who's actually been going off for them. He's had around 20 points per game in his last 3 games for the Utah Jazz. So I think Mitchell will definitely be a great option within this game and this live prop to fill in those spots, those offensive points that they need. And I think it's a pretty good bet to take at this moment. So, like I said, again, Donovan Mitchell, DraftKings live bet, over 21.5 points on minus 114 odds. So, I know jumped very quickly into the show, but I just had to get that out of the way while this game is still going on, and I'll probably bring it again down the stretch if anybody did not see the beginning of the show. So, like I said, back to what I was saying. I mean, this playoff picture, it looks great right now. There's a number of teams that possibly thinking upset, as we all know. A funny one right now is the Brooklyn Nets, who have taken down a number of teams in the bubble, including the Milwaukee Bucks and the Los Angeles Clippers. They will be playing the Toronto Raptors, so you could possibly see them taking a game somewhere along there. And actually, that's where I want to focus. I'll get back to nothing but the net But I do want to go and stay with the Brooklyn Nets conversation because I have why him, Jarrett Allen, his points line on DraftKings is 11.5. So that's something that you really want to look at. Jarrett Allen in his last 3 games playing extra minutes, his necessary amount of minutes, he's actually scored over 11 points in all those games. He had 17, 14, and 12 in those games, respectively. So, again, it's a Brooklyn Nets team that spreads the ball around a lot. I know that Karis LeVert has been doing much of the offensive handling. He's basically been carrying the team on his back. We all saw that against the Portland Trailblazers a few nights ago. But there's the thing, Jarrett Allen is that big man. He is a guy that will get up there. He obviously get the boards. But like I said, he's been scoring points consistently within these games right now. And I feel like the Nets ball movement is doing a good job of getting everybody involved within their game. So I saw this point total. I think it's well within his realm. You also got to think, this is a Toronto Raptors and Brooklyn Nets team. They're familiar with each other. They play each other a few times a year. So you figure that the Nets know, what defensive schemes that the Toronto Raptors are going to guard them against. Only problem for Allen is obviously he's going to have a tough job going up against the big men, including Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka. But I think that Allen is definitely capable of this point total. I could see Brooklyn. It's funny, it'd be crazy if they won the series, obviously, but a lot of people think this team can compete, and you really can't argue against that at this moment. You've seen how hard they've played down the stretch, and I think Allen is definitely that guy that they want to get involved even more, and he's kind of blooming into that big man that's going to be great for them next year when they have Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving back, a number of different guys as well. But for today's game against the Toronto Raptors, yeah, I kind of liked Jarrett Allen's line for that game for sure. So that's why I was leaning in that direction with the Brooklyn Nets and the Toronto Raptors, and I like Jarrett Allen's point line. Also, just want to remind everybody as well, BetQL's free game is actually the Brooklyn Nets and the Toronto Raptors. So you don't have to create an account to see the projections that website has for that game. And like I said, again, guys, make sure you don't want that to be the only free game, because guess what? If you sign up for an account with the promo code Scalia, SCALIA, you could have an account, and guess what? You have information for every game. But the Brooklyn Nets and the Toronto Raptors free game is a great trial run for you to see what information you can get from that and to see if you want to create an account moving forward with that. So like I said, again, Jarrett Allen, over 11.5. I think it's well within his realm. I like that line a lot. Yeah, and so, that'll be the series that, even though a lot of people obviously write off the Brooklyn Nets as losing to the Toronto Raptors, I think that they can compete for sure, and definitely the point totals will definitely be there. LeVert's another guy, too. I'm sure I'll be addressing him in a few days in the next shows that I have. But yeah, so Jarrett Allen will definitely be under the why him. So I know I had to jump quickly to nothing but the net, but guess what? We're going to be back with that. I had to address Donovan Mitchell. The next nothing but the net, Tim Hardaway Jr. He is playing pretty well down the stretch right now for the Dallas Mavericks. And his line right now for 3 points, over 2.5 3-point field goals on DraftKings, minus 121. I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with Tim Hardaway's 3-point lines, but usually, every single time I check, it is usually 3.5. That's his 3-point line. So today, when I checked again before the show, I saw it went down to 2.5. I thought that was pretty interesting because Tim's a guy that does shoot a lot, and he always gets his opportunities within games, obviously with controlling the middle, and Luka Doncic obviously doing his job to dish things out and take the attention away from the defense. So Hardaway's always a guy that could find a way to attempt these. This is a thing, too. In the game against the Phoenix Sun, Hardaway only played 20 points. Only played 20 minutes, and he still attempted 3-point field goals. So that says a lot about Hardaway. Game before that, he attempted 8. Before that, 6. Before that, 8. So, like you said, if he's attempting 6 to 8, sometimes 9 maybe, 3-point field goals, that's all you can ask for. That's a good value pick. if you only need 3 from him in this situation. Like I said, of course, the Los Angeles Clippers defense is a tough unit, although we've seen them get scored on within the bubble. I still think they're a very good unit, but like I said, their focus is going to be on Porzingis and Luka. Those are the 2 guys that are the most important that you got to keep your eyes on at all times. I think that's going to be a focus of the Clippers defense as they look forward to this game today. Like I said, that opens the door for Tim Hardaway, and I think he's been playing pretty well down the stretch. The game against the Trailblazers, he had 20 plus. He's a more than capable scorer for sure, and I think that if his line was 3.5, I would have thought more about it. But the fact that I saw it was 2.5, I think that is something that you want to jump on. Like I said, it's DraftKings. The line is -121, and he's definitely a guy that you could definitely jump on in this circumstance. Sort of a sleeper, but for the volume of shots that he takes in the perimeter game, I think that he could definitely find a way to just not shoot those 3-point field goals and make sure to secure the bag for yourself. So that'll do it for nothing but the net, and Tim Hardaway Jr. makes the list. So with that being said, we're going to move on to bounce back ballers. And now I remember who the Boston Celtics, I had a little brain fart there. The Boston Celtics are playing the Philadelphia 76ers, obviously without Ben Simmons. So that'll be a big impact for them. But, that's a game that would have been much more interesting if, a series at least, if Simmons was healthy for it. Obviously he's not, so the Celtics will be heavily favored within it. And talking about the Boston Celtics, I think Jalen Brown is a perfect bounce-back baller candidate. And why are you saying bounce back? He's been playing great in the bubble. If you didn't know, Jalen Brown only had points in the game, really played a good amount of minutes in. That was against the Memphis Grizzlies, who's 3 of 13 from the field, only had 4 rebounds and 2 assists. So even though the Celtics came away with a win that game, let's be honest, Jalen Brown was pretty much no part of it. And he played 28 minutes, so he played a decent amount of time and still didn't get too many points. So like I said, now it's playoff time. It's against a 76ers team that struggled down the stretch on quite the losing streak for sure. And like I said, Brown's line right now for points, rebounds, assists is at 26.5 on DraftKings, -110 odds. I love that number a lot. I have bet on Jalen Brown before. He's come through the clutch for me. And the big reason why, like I said, he does get up there for those rebounds when Tice might be out of the game. He's a great 3-point shooter from the line, and he could also drive to the rim. And with a line like 26.5, him and Tatum are pretty much the perfect Batman and Robin combo you could ask for. But Brown, you see, he could really explode for some games. And I love the points, rebounds, assist line, obviously, because this is something that I talked about last time on my last show. This is a great bet to always attack, because even if the person doesn't have the offensive production that they need, they have the rebounds, the assists to possibly get those extra points to complete the bet. So yeah, Jalen Brown against a beaten down 76ers team, a 26.5 line that's really not that bad. You're pretty much just looking for him to score about 10. If he scores about 10 to 13 points by halftime, you add up the assists and rebounds, you're probably in good position. And I think that he's a player that's well within his realm for him to do. So Jalen Brown will make the bounce back ballers list for today's game against the Philadelphia 76ers. So that'll lock that up for that game. I'm obviously excited for all of them. And just to remind everybody again, going back to the Brooklyn Nets and the Toronto Raptors, that is our free game on BetQL. If you guys didn't hear me say it the first million times, guess what? I'm going to say it again. Sign up to BetQL, make an account, use the promo code Scalia, SCALIA, and you'll be able to get 20% off and get the best sports betting data on the planet. Yes, that's a fact. That's verified. Check it on Twitter. So, if you guys still haven't signed up yet, definitely look into it. check out the free game, Raptors Nets. And with that, we will continue on to feeling risky, which I will say, last time I did select John Morant against the Milwaukee Bucks to get a triple-double, and that one actually did happen. Shocked myself a little bit, but yes, he did. He needed 3 more assists in the third quarter and got them in the fourth, and he completed his triple-double. The Devin Booker pick, unfortunately, he was taken out of the game early. I was wrong on that part. Sure, Gary Trent Jr. Also struggled down the stretch. Actually, going with the feeling risky, we got Fred VanVleet of the Toronto Raptors to be the top point scorer of the Brooklyn Nets and Toronto Raptors game. And if you really think about this, outside of Karis LeVert, I don't think there's too many other guys that will really in this game. Obviously, Kyle Lowry is a great player, Pascal Siakam, and obviously starts hitting from downtown. I think he's pretty much the only person standing in his way. If he has a good game, it's Karis LeVert and how well he plays. Obviously, he's on a super hot streak right now. But don't forget, playing up against defensive units in the bubble with the Toronto down a little bit, and that opens the door for Fred VanVleet plus 1,000. Obviously, something to play with here. Maybe throw $10 on it and see what you can get. I think Fred VanVleet is definitely a good nominee for this. He's definitely proving his worth. Look, this guy's going to be a free agent coming up next year, so he's balling out right now in the bubble. He's making big-time plays. Toronto's going to have tough decisions, and I think he's going to continue to do that. So, like I said, I think he's a guy that can really he can find a way to take over certain like we saw against the Miami Heat, and especially with the Raptors, it can be spread out to emerge and possibly be the top point scorer in this game. So Fred VanVleet coming off that 10-point performance against the Philadelphia 76ers. The Toronto Raptors came back that game and won. Like I said, this is a guy that could go off. And like I said, he's not obviously perimeter shooting. That's his game, but he could also make different plays, whether it be driving to the rim or even drawing some big-time fouls. Like we've seen from him in the NBA Finals before, he could go off. He could start getting hot. And like I said, I like him for this candidate for feeling risky. So with that being said, we're going to jump on to the next category. And this one actually features a Los Angeles Clipper that many people know within the bubble, but that was because he left the bubble, actually, to go pick up some food, he said. Not sure how accurate that is, but you never know. Anyway, Lou Williams, I think he is a guy. The chicken wings have been forgotten about that he had to pick up out of the bubble. He had a great performance against the Denver Nuggets. And you look at Lou Williams, look, this guy's an accomplished vet, multiple times Sixth Man of the Year. I mean, he's a great player in his own right. And something I really like about Lou Williams right now, you look at the first games, he came back in the bubble, and his minutes have gone up, and his points have gone up. So the first game, he scored first 2 games, he scored 7 and 6 points, respectively. Then against the Blazers, he scores 12. Nets, he scores 18, and Nuggets, he scores 23. So obviously we know, look, Patrick Beverley is a starting point guard of the Los Angeles Clippers, but he is more of a defensive presence. Lou Williams is really a pure scorer, and the fact that his line right now on DraftKings is 25.5, a minus 110 odds. I did like that. I think it's something to definitely keep your eye on, just because his trend is going up right now. Lou Williams, like I said, accomplished player, and I think that they could definitely get some offensive production from him. Same situation like the Mavericks right now. Clippers, your focus is really on Leonard and George. So when Williams steps on the court, when those two guys are on, could open up some opportunities for him. He's been here before. And he already got one look at the Mavericks within the bubble right now, so might be a little more familiar with this team. Like I said, again, his line's at 25.5. Those are minus 110 odds. I like Sweet Lou, as many people call him. And I think there's a Clippers team that's definitely capable of winning the NBA title. Lou Williams is a huge driving force behind that. So like I said, this is one, if you want to take a chance and bet on it, go for it. Definitely all for that. But this is one you want to keep an eye on for sure, because if he has a good performance this game, then you really know what he's going to bring to this series, what he's going to bring to the rest of the playoffs potentially. So I like Sweet Lou in those circumstances. And with that being said, we're going to go back to that Celtics and 76ers game for the last segment on the show. That is called Under the Backboard. Kemba Walker, his line on DraftKings was 2.5 3-point field goals, and I am actually going to take the under on this one. And I love me some Kemba. His first year with the Celtics right now, I think, is going pretty decently well. But like I said before, the volume is the part that's worrisome for me about Kemba. Like Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum, those are the number 2 offensive option that they have right now, and I feel like they are performing at a super high level. Not that Kemba Walker still isn't a great player, but it's the volume that's the more concerning part. Kemba Walker in his last 10 games played has only hit 3 or more 3-pointers. And 3 of those, let's go over that again. His last 10 games, okay, he's only hit 3 in 3 of the 10 games. So like I said, a line with 2.5, you kind of feel comfortable with. Even if he hits 2 3-pointers, you're still staying alive, obviously. And, the volume is spread out across the Celtics team right now. It's going up against the 76ers. And, these young guys like Tatum and Brown are finding their way. Even Marcus Smart, who's been playing very well down the stretch, definitely finding their ways within their games right now. So I do have to take Kemba on the under for me. I have actually taken this before. It's worked out for me in the past. So this is one I definitely feel comfortable with DraftKings. The line is set at minus 177 for Kemba Walker to have the under on 3-point field goals. And like I said, this isn't a guy that's going off by any means from downtown, to say the least. Obviously, like I said, only 3 occasions in the last 10 games for Kemba Walker. So that should just about conclude the segments for today. Okay, again, obviously, like I said, Nuggets and Jazz right now. You got the Nets and the Raptors later, the Celtics and the 76ers later. And obviously, for the last game of the night, it's the Mavericks and the Clippers. I think these are some great games on today. And like I said, look, you want to sign up to BetQL. You want to get this betting data. We're giving you, all the information we can right now, but we need you guys to definitely come out, use a promo code, Scalia, Scalia, create an account, get the best sports betting data for yourself. And we're here to help as always. Just to go over the list one more time, like I said, right now, nothing but net. Donovan Mitchell over 21.5 points. I hope you guys heard that earlier. It might have went up by now because he's actually scored 12 points in this game so far, and there's much time to go in the second quarter, about 6 minutes. So, like I said, I hope you guys took that line when I said it. It was live at that time. That's why I wanted to get that early and out of the way. It's a great line to take. He's got 12 points right now. Don't want to jinx anything. He only needs 10 more points from Donovan Mitchell if anybody took that bet live. Second one for nothing but net, Tim Hardaway. I think he'd definitely get that volume again. Hitting it back to why him, Jarrett Allen. Again, like the point total, 11.5 points. DraftKings, minus 121. Want to get that in before that game starts around 4 o'clock. And yeah, so again, last but not least, bounce back ballers. Jalen Brown, great line, 26.5 points. rebounds, and assists. So just want to thank everybody for listening to the show today. Hope you guys enjoy this awesome playoff action happening right now. Actually, the Nuggets, and the Jazz game has gotten a little more close. That'd be a great one to watch. So I hope you guys get all your bets in. Sign up to BetQL. Use promo code SCALIA, Scalia, to get 20% off an account. And on that note, I will be signing off. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 2 o'clock p.m. I hope you're ready to hear some more player props for those other playoff matchups I cannot wait for. Thank God sports are back. Thanks, everybody, for listening again, and take care.